play with anybody. You can play with me.
Oh. I will play with anybody.
Heard that one?
Yep. Welcome.
Oh,
Hold on. Give me
the
one
real
second.
players are here. I'm going to put this one up.
I'm close. I got it back together. Stuffed and the jalapeno olives. There you go. So we're here tonight to talk about Gallagher guitars. And we have David here from Gallagher. He owns the company. He's going to talk about all the great stuff of that. I know at least one person here that's been familiar with Gallagher guitars. How many other people are familiar with Gallagher guitars? How many other people are familiar? Right over there. They're going to fix that here in a second too. So we rediscovered Gallagher. It has been around for a long time. We'll talk about the history of the company. We're going to talk about how they build, how David and the crew is moving forward with the company. And we're also going to play some music. Yeah, and play some music and do some things. Jeremy grabbed a mandolin. So I guess we're going to play a tune. I guess you want to start off with that? And
sure.
Do that? What do you want to play, Jared?
Why is that my decision?
Because you're a mandolin player. We all know I can play anything. Okay. You are limited in your what you're capable of. To me, at least, the most famous part of Gallagher guitars is the relationship with Doc Watson,
Right.
And that's what that last song was. That's why we did that. Doc Watson, one of the most amazing guitar players that's ever existed, and still to this day, nothing touches. And a big inspiration for myself, as well as many guitar
Right.
players around the world.
To this day.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And so he played a Gallagher guitar, and we're
Happy with what we're doing.
good.
And I say we because, yes, I'm the owner, but I'm a co-owner with my wife.
Oh, well.
Yes.
I know that.
I've gotten her into things before, but never like this.
So how is she doing with it so far? Because we're in what, year 2.5, 3 right now?
Well, we opened our shop January 1st, 2020, right before the pandemic. Yes, yes. So all the festivals and the trade shows and everything got canceled. That's why NAMM was such a big deal for us. That was our first show to be out in the public. So that was really cool for us.
Absolutely.
And to meet you there.
Well, yeah. So that's kind of where we come into this picture. And we'll get, actually, there's still more history to kind of talk about. Like we said, Doc Watson, many players throughout. Gallagher guitars were, to me, they would be considered the ultimate, I guess, boutique style guitar during that 60s, 70s period.
Yep.
That was what you had. You had a few makers that were out there. You had Mossman, who was doing really well. Exactly that. There was the hype was there. It wasn't just hype. It was definitely something to see. So we looked at about 5 or 6 guitars. I took one home because we wanted from the show and put in an order for our first guitars from you. Sold within 3 days of being in the shop. We didn't even have a chance. You guys that know how we do things here, we usually shoot photos, we do videos, we do all kinds of content for it. We didn't even get a chance to do that. The guy came in. I was like, I got time. This is no problem. This is a new company. Nobody's gonna, know too much about it. Played it, instantly fell in love with it, and took it home that day. So wonderful.
Of course, we love that story.
I bet you do.
Yeah,
I'll bet you
that's
do.
good.
Because that also meant I had a phone call and can you get me another one? And that you also love that, I would assume.
Yeah.
So what is it now that is making Gallagher guitars so special? I mean, yes, and again, I know we talked about this somewhat earlier today, but you have a really weird position to be in here, right? Because this is a guitar with a legacy.
With a legacy, right.
Legacy brands are something special. You can't touch that.
Yeah, right.
Yet you have to compete with modern technology. I tell people in the guitar world every single day when we're in here talking sales and talking about these guitars, I hear the term American, golden age of guitars, all that kind of good stuff. And the fact is that is what you're in right now. And I dare anybody to challenge that fact. There is more great guitars being made today than there ever has been. It's an amazing landscape to be in. So you can't just come off of a company and go, I mean, there's some that are trying, some companies that are trying. You can't just go off the legacy of going, this is who we were, this is who we continue to be. Now you have to come in and go, this is who we were, and we are also this.
This is who we are now.
Exactly.
Well, one thing about JW, he hit that sweet spot when Martin, Gibson were not where they needed to be in terms of quality, and here he is wanting to build that type of quality instrument. So that's, I think, why they took off the way that they did. So we were very aware when we started this that it's a different landscape now. There's a lot of guitars out there that are really good quality. So it's been important for us to make sure that our guitars are really at that level of just high-end quality, and then also that they sound really good.
Yeah.
And it's been an important goal of ours that every guitar sounds really good.
So you're doing some new things now. We talked about this before. What are the new techniques that are making this a modern?
Yeah.
Because here's the other side of this. Everybody talks golden age and all that, and I agree. Amazing things. But the reason why we have so many even more amazing guitars nowadays is because technology has come a long way.
We've learned some things.
We have to take that. I think the trick for great guitar building or instrument building in general is recognizing that the old school craftsmanship is something that we want to pay attention to and really get, which
preserve.
Is zeroing in on what each specific piece of wood does, how they react, how they do what they do, but also taking in the idea that there's technology now. I'm sorry, but the tools and things that were used made for inconsistencies. It just, there's no way around that. Those guitars, I've got vintage guitars. Those of you who have them know that there's something magical about those. But the fact is there was an inconsistency to them. Some of them were really amazing. Some of them were almost amazing. And it had to go through that because you can't be as precise on a build as what you can nowadays.
Right.
It's
should,
impossible.
Should I share the engineering formula?
Go for it. Give it to
an electrical
MC.
engineer, right? Yeah, here with us. So, but I really do think it's important. One of the things that we've done is that we've set up a system to where we test every top that we use. The important thing about it is not only it helps us make decisions, but we're gathering data, we're gathering information that we use then in the future as well. I mean, that book that we're putting together on every guitar is valuable.
Sure.
So we've started our second book now of those.
It's going to continue to be more valuable too.
Well, when we have a guitar come out a certain way, we can look back at that page and the numbers. So in speaking of numbers, one of the things we're doing, every top wood that comes in, we cut everything to the same dimensions so that then we can conduct audio tests on them. And that way you have to have the same dimensions, same variables. But we conduct an audio test to find the resonant frequency of that top. We use that formula in an engineering formula to determine the ideal thickness for that top. So instead of just everything being the same, you send it to the thickness sander and get it to 120 thousandths, for example. It varies depending on that top because we're looking at the long grain stiffness and qualities of that top. So that's our best chance to make sure every guitar we're using that wood for that guitar. And then we also test the second time after we've joined the top and braced them up. We do another test that has to do with the vibrational pattern of the top, and that helps us to carve the bracing for that. So that improves our chances of being able to have every guitar being a great guitar.
Absolutely, it makes sense.
And that's a handmade guitar too.
Yeah, and there's our other line, right? We can go to the point of where we recognize, replace the idea with technology, and we just let machines go to that. And there, that goes back to what we were saying in the first place. There's old school craftsmanship. You have to be able to, human has to be able to recognize variances. They have to be able to do that. And there's a lot of guitar builders that are using formulas and full-on CNC and just going at, like you said, and knowing exactly how this is going to turn out, everyone, and there's no human hands involved. Now, again, I'm not one of those people that is an anti-technology person at all. I recognize the value of technology. I recognize what it needs to be, but human hands have to be able to recognize some of those variances.
Yeah, there's something about feeling the wood that you can't get with a machine.
Sure.
Now, Richard Hoover with Santa Cruz, he talks about machines, that repetitive motion that hands are not necessarily meant to do. There's a place for machinery, and we try to use some of that too. But there's something about having your hands on that material that you're working with.
Absolutely. There's just no replacement for that.
Right.
And I believe in that 100%. So yeah, it's really cool to have a guitar company that is kind of taking on some of the modern ideas, still paying attention to what it was all about.
Right.
We talked about earlier today key characteristics of Gallagher guitars. There's a certain look that is there. I called it the haircut over here. Headstock.
He did. He called it the haircut.
The haircut. What is it officially called?
The French curve.
The French curve, for all you to know.
Yes.
And then always signature was also this pickguard
the
shape.
pickguard that Don designed when he was 17 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit
And that's
bulkier.
trademark.
It's very similar. It's got a lot of that modern, or not modern. It was a very, I guess, 60s, 70s look of a lot of pickguards.
Yeah.
A little bit bigger. You also had a lot of time at that period where the people were just going to town. So some of those smaller pickguard shapes just weren't covering what they needed to be. So anyway, that is a characteristic we talked about today. I wish I had found that. And if somebody who's working here can look over next door. Yeah, it's next door. I want to grab that and show that on the camera too. It was actually copied so much that me and you were just talking about. You got one today.
Okay,
I
right.
actually have one of these. There is a period of guitars called lawsuit guitars. These were done by Japanese companies, Takamini's, Area. I think Alvarez even did a few. And some of these companies that were building guitars, and they dead-on copied
Absolutely.
everything they could of the main brand guitars. And that made perfect sense. I mean, to the point of, for those who don't know, Takamine had a guitar out that would be just like a D18 or a D28, 35, whatever it was. And the script of Takamine was exactly like C.F. Martin's in the gold leaf and in that same shape, everything about it. And they would check the specs on those. They also built hummingbirds and doves from Gibson, and they would just enough change it that it sort of said their name and didn't. What blew my mind and has become a special guitar for me, even though I haven't pulled it out of the case, and they're going to go grab it in probably 8 or 9 years, was this became such an iconic guitar, even though some of you have never heard of it or don't know much about it, but it was such an iconic guitar that Aria, and I think there was another company also did it, an exact lawsuit guitar. And I actually have one. You said you just got one when?
Yesterday, someone gifted me one of those Arias. He was a dealer in Nashville, and the Aria dealer came by and had, hey, let me show you this. And he was very familiar with Gallagher, so he bought it and took it down to JW to show him. And JW's reaction was, well, that's a real compliment.
Which is a great attitude to have. It could be worse, right? Somebody can get really mad. And it is pretty impressive. Again, that is such a distinct look, the shape of the headstock.
Right.
They even copied a very similar logo. And you'll see this when I get this in here. That's an A, but they used the half moon on the outside of it, and you had to kind of dig into it to find out that that's what it was. And when I first saw this guitar, it was actually hanging in our repair shop. Somebody brought it in for a repair, and it was hanging out to the side. And I talked to one of our staff at the time, and I said, "Hey, who brought in the Gallagher?" and they go, well, it's not a
It's
Gallagher.
not actually a Gallagher.
So
So that was my
anyway.
first time to play one of those. I've heard about them, but I played one yesterday.
So if another one shows up, I'm definitely interested in just for the novelty of seeing it. It was not a great guitar. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you.
The
it
one
was,
I played sounded terrible.
this one
I
is
mean, it
a
really did.
laminate guitar. It is rosewood laminate, but to give you an example, that looks like a Gallagher guitar.
Yeah.
Everything about that reminds you of that. Now that logo up top, there is an A in the center of that with a shape around it. So that is your Aria. Even went as far as the super fine herringbone, which was found on the Doc Watson models.
Right.
And again, it is an actual compliment.
And the pick guard.
Yes, pick guard
Pretty
shape,
close.
everything. And the Doc Watson model had the snowflake, I believe,
Right.
inlays. Correct. So this is kind of a cool thing. So I bring this up not to tell you, hey guys, go out there and find you an Aria because it's going to be amazing. I actually find this to be what you said, Don. It is kind of a compliment. I think what surprised me so much about this particular guitar when I found it was this is a guitar that I would have expected would have been lost because there wasn't that many of them built. At this time when this particular guitar was built, there couldn't have been more than 100 or 2 Doc Watson models out at that time. I just can't see how it's possible.
Right.
So for that to be all the way over in Japan for them to go, you know what, those are the greatest guitars in the world. We need to copy that.
Yeah, that's
is
pretty
a really
special.
big deal. So I find that to be cool, and this one's been crushed.
Yeah.
I don't recommend doing that also with your guitars.
So I have
But-
one of those too because it's part of the history.
Yes, absolutely. So I will keep this. It will hang. It's. Well, look at that. It's in tune still. So there's something to that. Anyway. So but yeah, again, legacy. This is all about the legacy of what Gallagher guitars are. So. It is like being covered as a band. Nobody ever covered a Chapman song. Ever.
Are you serious? No, I'm sure that's not the case.
I actually have heard people.
Yes, I'm sure.
There is I get this actually. There is a band from Japan. Jeremy has corrected me. Okay. I highly recommend somebody go out. What song was that? I can't remember. Follow Me to Tennessee, I believe. Uphill. How I Love You. That was it.
Yeah.
And it definitely is. It's you got to get used to the accent, but it is very interesting. It's actually my favorite cover of anything we ever did. So anyway, so let's talk about a few of these models. I'm going to dump this off with Jeremy, somebody over here, right here. Actually, I'll hang it up right here. So you're holding the G70.
So this is the G70. JW started with 2 models, the G50 and the G70. Anyone know why he named it the G50?
I have no idea.
He was 50.
Are you kidding?
That's why, yes. And that is the GA60, the GA being the OM version. And that was the guitar I brought to Gallagher. We designed that with Darren Goldman, our lead luthier, because I wanted a more fingerstyle guitar. And it's the G60. Guess why it's the 60?
Because he turned 60?
I
at
was
that time?
turning 60.
Oh, you were. I got you now.
Yeah.
So let's talk about G70 and is it the G40 is also, you said the 2 models that originally started, what were they?
The G50, which was
50.
the mahogany, that was the one that Doc Watson wanted, the blemished one that he wouldn't sell him, so he loaned it to Doc Watson, old Hoss. And then the G70 was the rosewood. And some of the early ones, they were Brazilian rosewood because everybody built with Brazilian
Everybody built with
rosewood.
Brazilian,
Is
yeah.
that Brazilian? Okay, I didn't pay attention to that one.
So you're holding a G70, and this is a guitar, by the way, that is now officially going to be available here at the shop. You delivered it here.
I'm
This
leaving
one,
it in good hands.
It will be loved and cherished.
Yeah.
And it is a monster, as you guys heard.
And the rosewood.
Rosewood sides and back. It has the arrow back strip on this. Was that actually the original back strip that was
I'm
done?
not sure about that. We
Okay.
can look at that 70 and see. And you can see we really pay attention to book matching, even the sides, and then the back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's 2 of them. We actually got 2. I picked what I thought was the best one, so whoever buys it knows that nobody cares.
It got the John endorsement.
Nobody cares. Not a single person cares.
That's not
But
true.
rosewood sides and back, spruce top. It
Sitka
does have
spruce top, yeah.
snowflake inlays, bound fretboard and bound peg head.
Right.
Okay, and in this case, are we doing Waverly tuners on the new ones?
Those are Waverly, right? The open gear.
Okay, and what kind of finish are we running on these
We're
days?
using nitro
Okay.
lacquer. I really wanted to try to go
Start
with the
leaning?
water base, but we're just not as happy with it. And so after giving it a good try with various samples and everything, nitro is just kind of the holy grail.
It's going to get tougher. I'm going to give all the people out in the
Yeah.
in the world here right now. As much as we all love lacquer, which I do, I'm a nitro fan.
You are a nitro
I am a
fan? Yeah,
nitro fan. I have always found that it is a great sounding one. But we are probably going to be seeing, I know most companies are switching away, even some of the ones that have held their guns for a long period of time. The only companies that I think you're going to be able to start seeing nitro out of are companies doing small numbers, small batches. Anybody that starts getting into large numbers, it's pretty much, and it's not just here, by the way, I know I don't want to get all the way down this whole deal, but it is actually happening in China now. It is officially becoming illegal to spray nitro. It is being illegal to spray nitro in any large quantities in almost every country in the world right now. Because
We're going to ignore that for now.
Yes.
We're staying with the
And there's a
nitro.
few companies that are going to do it. I love them. They're great sounding guitars. So again, yes, fine stuff. If you are a nitro fan, jump on it because I promise you, it is going to eventually start to disappear.
Yeah, so like the one you're holding, the G30, that's also a nitro finish, but it's satin. Mm-hmm. And we spray that, like this will get 18 to 21 coats of lacquer, real thin coats, where that's going to get half of that.
And that's a key point I like to bring out to customers that aren't familiar with finishes and how they are run. I get a lot of people like, why is it the satin finish is so much less expensive than the gloss finishes? There's a good reason behind it, and there's also a tonal difference, and you may love it, you may not love it. Some people love the satin finishes because they are so thin. They love the look. I would say the modern majority of, new guitar players, people that are new to the industry, are really in love with the satin look. It is
I think that's true.
aesthetically, it has become a trend, and a lot of people are leaning on it. Tonally, there is a major difference, and for me, what I tell people is gloss finishes tend to be a little bit more focused, a more detailed type of sound, where all the notes are just a little bit more articulate and pinpointed. Where an open finish like this, it lets the guitar breathe a lot more.
Right.
So it's a lot more woody and it's a little bit more open. It's almost like your note kind of just bluntly falls out into the world, where that is a little bit more precise and kind of hits you a little bit more detailed, in my
Could
opinion.
you tell me what woody means? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we
had
we
that
discussed that
discussion
today.
earlier.
Going with
everyone's
what
got
people
their own definition.
tell you a tonal property is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But the G70, very, very popular one. The 50, we also, I believe, have one of those on order. It will be a mahogany back and sides.
So the story about the 50, I mentioned some of this to you earlier. T. Michael Coleman was the bass player that played with Doc, and he shared the story with me recently, because the story I had was not the full story. So he gave me the background, and that was that JW wanted to build another guitar for Doc, and Doc had these things in mind that he wanted. So he essentially took the G50 and it became the Doc Watson model. A wider nut, jumbo frets, voice top, and a profile of the Les Paul guitar that Doc liked. And that happened on a napkin in TGI Fridays in Nashville.
where
That
most
became the Doc
guitars
Watson,
happen.
right. That became the Doc Watson model. And that's our best-selling guitar.
Absolutely,
And
for
we're
good
going to be
reason.
sending some your way very soon.
Yep. And then we have this one right here. I want to talk about this one real quick. This is one that we also took all mahogany. Is it a GA30? Is
It's
that
a
right?
G30.
G30.
G, of course, is our D. It's our dread.
Okay.
And no binding on that one. The satin finish. We did put a sunburst on the top of that one. For a mahogany guitar, a great rhythm guitar, you expect it to be a little darker in tone.
And soft.
We're really happy with the brightness that came through with that one as well.
I'm
And
gonna
use-
play this because this is
Okay.
a surprise guitar right here. So know if you guys out in the internet land or not, or you guys in the back can hear it, but this guitar will actually just send concussion waves through you right here. It just jumps
Very
out
vibrant,
of it.
yeah.
And again, mahogany top, all mahogany guitars are kind of known to be a softer, kind of restrained guitar. This definitely does not fall under a
Right.
restrained guitar. And one of the things I was noticing about it, it is a spruced braced guitar
Yes.
underneath the mahogany.
Right.
And it just,
And we use wingay wood for the bridge, the fretboard, and that's a real dense wood. That may add to some of the brightness possibly. We like the look of it as well.
I
Yeah.
think it's a very attractive guitar, and this is one of the more affordable models,
Right.
correct, for you guys. So
Yeah, $3,000. The Sunburst makes it a little more, but we think that's about as good as you can do for a handmade guitar.
Yep, a custom built size boutique style guitar. So I was really impressed with this. Again, a quick layback here. We had really the G70 and the Doc Watson model were that all in order, and I had talked to you about another one, which we'll talk about
Yep.
here as well. But you brought some other stuff to the point of I decided I was going to keep this one also for the shop. So this one will be available as well.
Right.
A great sounding guitar. And then we have this one over here. I guess I'll
Let's
switch one out.
see. Put this right here. Always makes me a little nervous.
We got you now.
Yeah.
So this one was one you actually brought to the company, designed and built.
Yeah, my wife and I really had input on that one. I'm more of a fingerstyle guitar player, so I wanted a fingerstyle. I like cedar top guitars, so we paired it with the rosewood, and you know it's the rosewood binding, the maple strip. I mean, we tried to add some nice touches to it, but we didn't want it too blingy, so we didn't put fret markers, just side markers on it. So it's got a real nice tonal appearance.
Wood binding
earthy
on this.
appearance to it.
Rosewood binding, has the arrow back strip again
Right.
in Indian rosewood. All these have satin necks. I really like you did the Waverleys with the snakewood buttons.
Snakewood,
It's
right.
one of my favorite buttons, the small buttons. And then what do we got here?
Also wingay.
Wingay, but the bridge pins as well.
No, that's snakewood.
Snakewood.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, small body guitar. So again,
Does that
probably
sound good?
more designed to be a little bit more of a finger picker. That's the extent of my finger picking, by the way. So I hope you're blown away with what I know right there. No, I'm just kidding. It's
I'm blown away, I'm blown away by all that you do, John.
yeah, I like that right there. All right, we're ordering 4 more, Jared. Don't worry, we got this. But yes, a really cool guitar. Definitely one I want to put into the run as well. So.
Yeah, that one's staying with you.
So all right, so I want to keep it so much so that we've already got it staying here. So
Okay.
this is also a cedar top, correct?
It's a cedar top.
Cedar top.
Cedar is not the easiest wood to get these days, so we get it out of Alaska. It's pretty hard to find good quality
King
cedar.
crab legs and cedar. That's what they get, and they're all in the
Yes.
same truck, actually. So.
I wish. I need to talk.
Yeah, you should come hang out here in Missouri. We got lots of cedar. You can get ones that
Oh,
are this big
right,
around,
right.
and maybe
Yes,
even that big
yes.
around. It probably you glue about 5 or 6 of those trees
Yes.
together. You got yourself something right there.
Right. That'd be special.
We got a whole room of it. I mean, that's a cedar room back there. Anyway, some of it actually is from Missouri, believe it or not. Those little cubes that are in it. You guys don't care. You don't want to hear this. So this is another great one that we got coming in. And then we got something really special to talk about. And this is,
I'm eager for. You want me to swap out?
well, you can grab some too. So I'll bet you do. So do I. I knew you. Yeah, now that I look at, this is definitely up your alley right here. So we actually are getting an opportunity here tonight to kind of jumpstart something that he didn't intend to do, but we're doing it anyway because he can't stop us now, basically. So when we met in Nashville at the show, you guys had built one prototype of a jumbo.
Right.
And there was a guy there that was hanging out at the booth.
Just a guy.
Just a guy. He was hanging out at the booth when we showed up, and his name is George Gruen. And if those you don't know much about George Gruen is considered one of the foremost experts in acoustic. Literally wrote the book on vintage guitars. Yeah. It's called The Gruen's Guide to Vintage Guitars. He knows more, has had one of the most long-standing vintage guitar shops in the world. And when I came over there, talked to George, he was standing around the booth, and he said, "Have you seen the Gallagher booth?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going over there." And he goes, "You got to check out this guitar." So I got over there, and he showed us this guitar. He had already laid claim to it before anybody else actually, and half the booth, and it was pretty fun. He had, I think, 2 guitars.
He
went
took
away,
a
right?
couple of them.
Yeah. So one of the big ones was very similar to this. It was different.
Because this one has a sunburst, but it was the bird's eye.
Okay.
And the appointments were the same.
So George fell in love with this guitar. I also fell in love with it. Those of you who don't know, I'm a Jumbo fan. I love them for what style I play, I'm a dreadnought person. That's what I do. That's my, kind of bread and butter, my home world. But I have grown a big affinity for jumbo guitars, and especially maple jumbo guitars. I find it to be one of the greatest combos out there. Now, this guitar, I'll get there. You give me a minute here. She's pushing me.
You do think of maple when you think of jumbo guitars, right?
For me, I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this one's kind of unique in that it is bird's eye maple, and it is absolutely stunning because it has this kind of like V-shaped dealy here, and very cool character, and you get that bird's eye maple that's also going through the sides.
We're proud of that one.
And a gorgeous sunburst. Again, there were 2 major companies to me that kind of really defined the jumbo category. Obviously, the Super Jumbo J200 or SJ200 or J200, however you want to call it, that was done by Gibson. Very defined. Everybody knows that guitar. I also find Guild kind of redefined again in the 60s and 70s, the jumbo with their F body shape. This is kind of in between. You have a lot of markers of the Gibson world. You also have some of these shape and characteristics of the Guild style guitars. I love the burst. I personally, we're seeing this first, so George, again, if you're watching right now, just because you got the biggest store in the world, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, no, this is a stunning guitar. I love the burst on it. I love the fact that you did a tortoise. We talked about the design, because you guys have always done minimal inlay patterns. Right. Nothing really over the top.
But that one needed more. And the other
we have the
jumbo
mate
I brought,
to it. There's going to be 3, and they're going to introduce these very shortly. We're jump starting the intro to that. In fact, I already, if it's possible, I would like to lay claim to this guitar after you finish all your stuff. So if that is possible, this is one I'd like to have back in the shop. So if you,
all right,
I only put you on camera, so if you say yes, it's totally
it's
binding.
recorded.
It's legally binding right now. Did you see how I did that, Jer? Did you catch that? All right. But you did this in the mahogany.
So this is the mahogany.
And then you're going to do a rosewood.
We'll also have a rosewood. The rosewood probably got strings on it today. It wasn't quite ready, so I couldn't bring it with me. These both got strings on them 2 days ago. So they're not really broken in. They need a little time to open up.
So the inlay patterns normally, this was going to match the 40 series, correct?
The 50 series.
Sorry.
50.
My numbers, I'm a little scrambled today.
And then the rosewood will match the 70 series for the appointments, where it has the diamonds and squares. And that one just deserved its own pattern.
Yeah.
So we created that.
And you were saying the kind of balances off from that rounded headstock, the French curve, the haircut. This is the haircut inlay officially now.
Now, I'm particularly proud of the split diamond. We're calling it the Gallagher diamond, and I put the French curve in that pattern to split it. And so we tie it all together that way.
So again, I think that's what also is cool about that is having that diamond in there and stuff. We're now taking a headstock inlay, and this is what I personally have always thought. The jumbos kind of mark in that in-between world of the archtop world and the flat top world, and with the more ornate headstocks, I always found that to be kind of a really cool way to kind of put those two worlds together. Because 16, 17-inch bodies, that's the jumbo world.
Yeah, 17-inch, yeah.
So rosette also, and so. Absolutely gorgeous guitar. The mahogany sounds great. This guitar is huge on the bottom. big, right? That's
Yeah.
a big sounding guitar.
Yeah,
So
two days old.
yeah, give it some time, let it dry. You realize again, lacquer also doesn't dry for quite a long time.
Right.
So
It really does
This
take
is wet.
time.
I've actually put fingerprints in it, so it is mine. I've marked it up. So same thing. Play that one for them.
Yeah, I don't have a pick on me.
Oh, I don't know if that's going to work for you or not. It's a big one.
So it's
Again.
a good full sound. This one's tight. To me, it's got a little more time to open up, but you can hear it. It's a great guitar now. It's going to get better.
And I think with the 3 Series, we're going to see a really cool kind of blending. I'll take my pick back.
Yeah,
You can't have mine.
should.
You're going to have the Rosewood, which is done quite a bit. And like I said, with that pairing of the two companies that are so well known for their high-end jumbos, I think these are really going to match in there, especially with a more modern twist, a little bit more character. So I'm really excited. I'm glad you brought them down here. I've teased at you at your expense, but I am serious. I would love to see this guitar come back here. I think it's a fabulous model.
He said that now how many times?
If I'm not anything, I am persistent. So I know how to push that kind of stuff. So anyway, so those are kind of the main characteristics. What are we going to see out of Gallagher guitar here in the next few years? What's your expectations now that COVID is going to allow you to do things again?
So one thing, we do want to have the guitars like we talked about kind of at that price point because we want to see people playing Gallagher guitars again. Because there was a time where a lot of people were playing Gallaghers and we've just been quiet for a little while. So we want to get back to that. I think the Doc Watson model is definitely leading the way for us. It's just such a great guitar.
Iconic.
You know, he designed, it's iconic, but it's just so playable. And you're going to see a lot more of those out there, I think. And then we'll see how people respond to the Jumbo and the 60 and some of the new ones.
I think another thing that we've brushed over so far is this is still a small build shop.
Right.
And we're going to be doing stuff, and me and you have talked already about this. One of the things with the Acoustic Shoppe and with Gallagher guitars that I want to show is we're going to be doing some kind of pairings together. We've already talked about it. I've got some ideas. You've got some ideas. We can play with some things, and it's a lot of fun. I like working with companies like you guys, and so far you haven't told me, shut up, John, you don't know what you're talking about, and I really appreciate that, so thank you very much. Yeah, I don't get that here from my own staff. I appreciate it. Anyway, but we're going to come up with some ideas and some modifications, a few changes here and there, just to have something special from the Gallagher, which is actually what it started as. This is what it was.
You know, I love that idea because we can be very responsive. We're doing that for some other dealers too, and so we look forward to doing that with you.
Awesome. And you're going to see more of these out, again, like I said, with some of the artists that you guys got coming.
Yeah.
Any of those you can share so far?
Yeah, we're just so pleased that Trey Hensley came to us and was happy with what he saw and what he played and talked about Gallagher being a guitar home for him. And we just couldn't be happier about that.
Good.
We've got a review coming out. I've already been privy to seeing the review. It's coming out in Vintage Guitar Magazine on the Doc Watson model. So
wouldn't announce that if it was a bad review. So.
Yeah.
probably what?
Yeah, he said you probably wouldn't announce that if it were a bad review. So he's probably right. He's probably right.
But in that issue, we're also taking out an ad, and Trey Hensley's going to be featured in that ad.
Awesome.
So I think things are going to take off.
He's an okay guitar player. Actually, Trey is one, like I told you, he was
Yeah.
one of the ones that kind of clued me into it. He said, you need to pay attention.
Okay.
They're doing some stuff over there, very special. So again, thank you, Trey, for continuing to take my phone calls. You and about 3 other people still do that. So I appreciate that as well. So I guess that kind of covers most of what we wanted to talk about today. I think for you folks that are out on the internet land, you're not going to be able to do what I'm going to tell these folks to do, which is get up here, try some guitars, play them, see what you like. There's a couple of them that we may have a special buy. Wasn't there one of them that we talked about?
You know,
Mike?
there's the G.
$1,000 off.
Actually, where is
was-
it? It's over by you. Oh, there it is.
That
The
guy.
G30. I was going to take 10% off today.
Today.
And you guys can decide if you want to do anything as well. But so it's available.
There you go. And anything that you guys, if you see something here that you want to do and check out, we will have for you folks out there, we are going to have a lot more instrument or reviews on these as they come through. The G70 that came in here, this guy here, the small body, the 70, was that 60? 60.
60, yes.
Yeah, gosh, I can't remember numbers. I really can't. We're going to be doing the specific videos that we always do, the reviews, and sounds like Jeremy wants to play again.
I figured it'd be a good way to go out. Right?
All right, I can do that. Do you want me to blow you away with a jumbo? I will do it too. I will do it. So anyway, be looking for those reviews and videos. And anything you want to add to this,
I'm
Jared?
just trying to think of a song.
Oh, okay.
They're beautiful guitars.
Well, let me
Very exciting.
say it's been a delight to be here, and really you've been very gracious to me, and we look forward to working together in the future.
It will be awesome. And again, thank David for coming out here. Drove all the way from Tennessee just to bring us some guitars. So if you give him a hand for just that, we appreciate that. That's what I'm gonna do. We're going to be doing, just another thing for you guys, if you haven't already been paying attention to our social media, we're doing our big Small Business Saturday sale coming up on the 27th of this month. It is our biggest sale. It's our only sale. You guys know that. It's our most fun thing we do. This year we're doing a hybrid. Last year we...
Normally, like pre-COVID, it was always this big in-person event, and we didn't do anything online. Last year forced it to be like entirely 100% online. We did a 7-hour live stream event where we were selling online. We're going to do a hybrid this year, 7-hour live stream event, but also in store.
In that live stream, by the way, so again, I want to backtrack so you folks at home understand, and also those that haven't been here. There's usually a line that goes out this door and out all the way to the street out here at Seminole with people waiting to get in. It has got good buys, and everybody has a lot of fun being here and being part of it. With the live stream, it's not just 7 hours of us talking and doing things. There's a lot of that, don't get me wrong.
We twisted some arms.
We did a lot of twisting of arms. We will have, I just got a video from Marty Rabin of Shenandoah, a brand new one. He's going to entertain you folks with a specific video, Traveling McCurry's. I got, just heard from Balsam Range. They got a video for us. I got 4 or 5 that just came in today. We have stuff from Rhonda Vincent, the Isaacs, Sierra Hole. There is so many amazing musicians that built special content just for that. So you can watch them.
Like right here, we're going to have our vendors talk about their instruments.
We are. We're going to have David here and a bunch of our companies that we work with that are going to give you guys special greetings, video messages, all kinds of stuff for that event. So it is a lot of fun. If you can be there. I will say that due to pricing structures and things, we are not allowed to advertise a lot of the craziest sales that we have. To be fair,
this guitar is free.
Yeah, this guitar will be free. No, it will not be. It will not be. But be paying attention to our Facebook page. There's an event on there for the Small Business Saturday sale. RSVP on there and say that you're going to be there. That way you get notified because we will be dropping those sale things starting Thursday night after Thanksgiving. And that way you can kind of start planning. I am here to tell you I've worked tirelessly to get inventory and some sales because this has been the toughest year to get inventory. Those of you guys who have done any Christmas shopping know there are a lot of shortages and a lot of things.
You can buy directly from the cargo ship that's been waiting.
Exactly. So we actually have a large inventory that is going to be in stock and available. And I actually did do some heavy twisting of arms. And that was really twisting of arms to get some deals that are going to be above what would normally, because most people are like,
a lot of them were, if it's in stock, that's your deal.
That's your in sale. Yeah, that was pretty much what a lot of my vendors told me. If you can have it, it's on sale, as in that's the normal price. So take it or don't, basically. But I did get a few things, so some really good buys to kind of go at. So I'm done now, Jared.
Yeah. What's that? Doc Watson that. Deep Ellen Blues or
I can't play that very well.
Deep River.
Beaumont Rag.
We can do Beaumont Rag. Do you need it in D? I can.
Pick a key
Can you do it? We're doing it. We don't care about it. Everyone wants guitars anyway. You ready? I said, do you need to do it in D? I was going to get a cape. Shut up. I lied to you. Should have chose D, Jer. Sorry.
Just the way you practiced it.
All right. So, all right, we're going to leave you guys out there. And again, you guys enjoy the refreshments, grab what you can, and all the olives that you want. And check out these guitars. So, thank you all for coming.